I know the layout. I'll tell you about it on the way.
Sylvester Stallone is an American actor, screenwriter, and director who has gone from poverty to a multi-million-dollar fortune. In this video, you will learn how he achieved such success and where he is now. Sylvester Stallone, how Rambo lives and how he spends his millions. Sylvester was born on July 6, 1946 in New York. His mother, Jacqueline, or Jackie, was a big fan of actor Tyrone Power and wanted to name her firstborn in his honor. But upon receiving the birth certificate, she saw a different name. The boy's father, Frank, gave him the name Michael Sylvester Gardenzio Stallone. Frank was an immigrant from Sicily, owned a small chain of hairdressers, and was infamous for his violent temper. Jackie, who grew up in a wealthy family of a successful lawyer, connected her life with a man who was a serial cheater and a tyrant at home. The first years of his life, Sylvester spent most of his time in the house of a nanny hired by his parents. He saw them on weekends, but these meetings were very reserved. The boy felt unloved. In 1950, the family had a second son, Frank Jr., and their wealth grew. But Stallone Sr. didn't change, so in 1956, Jackie filed for divorce. Sylvester stayed with his father and tried desperately to earn his love, but it was in vain.
These your parents?
Yeah, that's both of them there.
Is this you?
Yeah, that's me when I was 8 years old. That's the Italian stallion when he was a baby.
He had other problems, like his birth defect. Due to an obstetrician's error, the left half of Sylvester's face remained paralyzed, which affected his speech. Peers bullied him, so Stallone decided that he needed to build muscle mass. For this purpose, he used car parts from the landfill and construction materials. And when he got older, he almost lived in the gym. By 13, Sylvester was expelled from 14 schools because of his aggressive behavior. At 15, he found himself at the Charlotte Hall Military Academy. At the same time, he moved in with his mother, but she would ignore him. In her entire life, she only kissed her son once, right after the divorce. Back then, Stallone started boxing and became interested in soccer. After receiving a high school diploma, he entered college, where he began acting in the student theater. Then in 1965, Sylvester went to study in Switzerland at the American College while working as a personal trainer. Later, there was a theory that he did it to evade serving in the army and being sent to Vietnam. In 1991, the actor filed a libel suit against a tabloid and won the case. Upon returning to America in 1967, Sylvester enrolled at the University of Miami as a drama major, finally deciding to connect his life with performing. In 1969, Stallone dropped out of the university and decided to conquer the New York theaters. The young man tried to act in films, but cameo roles didn't solve financial problems. At some point, Sylvester found himself homeless, sleeping at the train station for 3 weeks. Then he came across an ad about casting for the movie The Party at Kitty and Studs. It was an adult movie, but there wasn't much choice. For 2 days of filming in 1970, Sylvester received $200. When he became famous, the film was re-released as Italian Stallion. After several other tiny film roles, in 1971, the aspiring actor took part in an erotic theatrical production of Score, which was shown in 23 theaters in New York. For the most part, the directors refused Stallone because of his speech impediment, so he earned his living as a doorman, bouncer in a restaurant, and even cage cleaner in a menagerie. Sylvester shared an apartment in New York with his girlfriend Sasha Zak. They married in 1974 and later had 2 sons, Sage and Sergio. The youngest has been diagnosed with autism and doesn't appear in public. The elder Sage managed to star in several films, but died young in 2012 from a heart attack. In 1974, Sylvester got a role in the movie The Lords of Flatbush. According to him, for it, he received 25 t-shirts as a payout, after which he moved to Hollywood. In 1975, the actor starred in the films The Prisoner of Second Avenue, Capone, Farewell, My Lovely, episodes of several TV series, and the fantastic action movie Death Race 2000. For the latter, Sylvester received $700 a week. In March of the same year, the actor watched the Muhammad Ali fight and got so inspired that he decided to write a film script about a boxer who never gives up. He did not leave the house for 92 hours while writing, and the story was a success by pure luck. Stallone auditioned for another movie, but he was turned down. During the audition, he mentioned that he also wrote scripts, and the producers asked him to send them the Rocky script. At first, the studio offered Sylvester $150,000 with the condition that another actor would play the lead role. After long negotiations, the producers agreed that Rocky would be Stallone himself. For this, the actor agreed to reduce his payout to $23,000. They say that at that moment, there was only $106 in his bank account, and he could not afford to keep his dog, so he ended up selling it for $50. To get the pet back, Sylvester had to pay $3,000 and promise a small role in Rocky. By the way, the Bull Mastiff also starred in the film.
Look at his face, 64 fights. Look at that nose. See that nose? That nose ain't never been broken. 64 fights. I've had guys busted on it. I had guys chewing on it, twisting it, punching it. I mean, whack, boom. These guys are hitting my nose all the time. Never broke. I'm very proud of that. It's not rare. That's rare.
Filming was difficult, as was the preparation for it. Stallone even quit smoking when he realized that he couldn't last 5 minutes in the ring without being out of breath. The movie turned out to be incredibly successful and received 10 Oscar nominations. At that time, Stallone became the third actor in history nominated for this award simultaneously for Best Actor and Best Screenplay. The creators won 3 statuettes, including one for Best Film. After the film Fist and Stallone's directorial debut, Paradise Alley, he released the sequel to Rocky. While preparing for filming, Sylvester agreed to compete with his coach in the bench press and seriously injured his pectoral muscle. Since then, half of his chest has been more sinewy than the other. In 1981, the action movie Nighthawks and the sports drama Escape to Victory about a soccer team of World War II prisoners were released. After filming, Sylvester said that playing soccer was harder for him than boxing in Rocky. By the way, the next film released was Rocky III, for which Sylvester received $7 million, followed by the premiere of First Blood.
Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Stallone, as the screenwriter, participated in the casting for the lead role, rejected several candidates, and eventually played it himself. He received $3.5 million for his work. In 1984, Sylvester received a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He also tried a genre change by starring in the musical comedy Rhinestone, for which he received $4 million and an anti-award Golden Raspberry. For the sake of this role, he refused to work in the films Romancing the Stone and Beverly Hills Cop that became super hits, which he later greatly regretted. A year later, critics gave a lukewarm rating to the continuation of Rambo's story, although President Ronald Reagan praised Sylvester Stallone for creating a new symbol for the American Army. For this film, the actor again received the Golden Raspberry. More success awaited Rocky IV, for which he received $12 million and the Golden Raspberry Anti-Award as the worst director.
See, I fight, so you don't have to fight. 'Cause I want you to use your head for something instead of a punching bag like I do.
Your head doesn't look like a punching bag.
Meanwhile, Stallone's wife was tired of enduring her husband's numerous infidelities and filed for divorce, demanding compensation of $33 million. The last straw was Sylvester's affair with Bridget Nielsen. They met on the set of Rocky IV and got married in 1985, but the marriage lasted only 2 years. In the end, Bridget sued Stallone for $1 million. In 1986, Stallone starred in the action movie Cobra, for which he received $13 million.
Hey, dirtbag. You're a lousy shot. I don't like lousy shots. You wasted a kid. For nothing. Now I think it's time to waste you.
Interestingly, the main character's car, a 1950 Mercury Monterey, belonged to Sylvester in real life. 9 years later, the vehicle was stolen from his garage. It was returned in 2009, and along with the car, he got $3 million in compensation. Stallone's next project was the film Over the Top, for $13 million. And in 1988, Rambo 3 was released. For his work, the actor received $16 million and a Golden Raspberry. In the next few years, the films Lock Up, Tango and Cash, Rocky V, Oscar, Demolition Man, and Cliffhanger were released. And for each of them, the actor received $15 million. Sylvester starred in Cliffhanger to overcome his fear of heights.
You want to do it? Do it. Now. You live with it.
At the same time, Stallone appeared as a police sergeant whose mother meddles with investigations in the comedy Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot.
Mom, stay out of this, okay?
Joe, wave to the crowd.
Mom,
Joe.
God damn it!
Hey, you don't swear to your mother.
Hey, butt out! Hey, my mother, relax.
Hey, it's your mother, so you do what she tells you to do.
This film, for which he was again awarded the Golden Raspberry, the actor considers the worst in his career. He agreed to star in it to spite Arnold Schwarzenegger, who spread a rumor that he wanted to get this role himself. Of course, Arnold was just pranking his friend, but Sylvester didn't find out about it until many years later. In the late 1980s, Stallone met model Jennifer Flavin. He called her his ideal, selfless, loving, and so patient. However, this did not prevent Sylvester from constantly having affairs. In 1995, Stallone reined himself in and begged for Jennifer's forgiveness on his knees and hasn't been seen cheating since. A few years later, the couple got married and had 3 daughters. Interestingly enough, when the journalist from the publication Star decided to give Sylvester an album with all his partners for his 50th birthday, it turned out that there were 595 of them. Among the actor's lovers were the singer Cher, who later called the man a Neanderthal, models Linda Evangelista, Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, and Janice Dickinson. Meanwhile, the actor added several movies to his filmography. Among them were the films The Specialist, with a payout of $12 million, action films Assassins and Judge Dredd for $15 million each, and for the film Daylight, Sylvester earned $17.5 million and overcame another fear of confined spaces. To diversify his resume and play a more serious role, Stallone agreed to star in the thriller Copland for only $80,000.
There's got to be a way out of this for everyone. So I said, why don't we all go in tomorrow together?
Freddie, I invited men, cops, good men to live in this town. And these men to make a living.
According to him, it was an interesting experience and he enjoyed it, but it did not help his career in any way, as well as his health, because of weight gain for the role. Sylvester got sciatica, heart palpitations, digestive problems, and headaches. This was followed by the failed comedy, an Alan Smithy film, Burn Hollywood Burn, the cartoon Ants, where the actor voiced one of the roles. In 2000, the action movie Get Carter premiered, for which Sylvester received $20 million. In the same year, he was awarded another Golden Raspberry as the worst actor of the century. Sylvester wrote the script and starred in his next project, Driven, in 2001, for which he received $20 million. This film became famous as the most unrealistic film about motorsports. Then, after the films Detox, with a payout of $20 million, Avenging Angelo, Shade, the comedy Spy Kids 3D, Game Over, for which he received the Golden Raspberry, and the TV series Las Vegas, Stallone returned to his legendary characters in both Rocky Balboa and Rambo.
And there isn't one of us that doesn't want to be someplace else. But this is what we do. Who we are.
In 2007, he was caught importing banned hormones from Australia to build muscle mass. The actor pleaded guilty and eventually paid more than $11,000 in fines and court costs. In 2009, Stallone appeared in the Bollywood film Damn Love, and a year later, he assembled the old guard and presented the action movie The Expendables to the audience.
Yeah, should have shot him when I had a chance.
Big Barney Ross.
Bigger Trent Mouse.
What are you doing? Praying for Brooke?
Could be.
Despite being nominated for the Golden Raspberry for directing, the film received high ratings and paid off 3 times its cost at the box office. In addition, The Expendables made Sylvester the only person in the history of Hollywood who starred in films that got first places in the box office charts for 5 decades in a row. At the same time, on the set, he once again had to struggle because Sylvester suffered 14 injuries, as well as bronchitis and shingles. In 2011, Sylvester's voice could be heard in the film Zookeeper, and in the same year, he was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Some fans of this sport were not thrilled because Stallone didn't appear in the ring but only played in the movies. By the way, the actor is connected with boxing not only through his role as Rocky. In the 1980s, he was the manager of a boxing match, and in the 2000s, he launched the reality show The Contender, where participants fought for a contract in the professional ring. In 2012, the sequel to The Expendables was released, which turned out to be even more spectacular, and Stallone earns $15 million. And soon, he added another movie to his filmography called Bullet to the Head. Stallone received $12 million for that work. This was followed by collaboration with Iron Arnold in the action movie Escape Plan, for which Sylvester received $10 million. The sports film Grudge Match, the drama Reach Me, and the third part of The Expendables. For all these films, he received $15 million. In 2015, Stallone voiced the cartoon Ratchet & Clank and presented another continuation of the story about the legendary boxer Creed, for which he received the Golden Globe Award.
You're gonna take a beat, you're gonna take this, you're gonna get knocked down, you're gonna get up, and you're gonna see if you got the right thing. But you gotta work hard. I swear to God, if you're not gonna do it, I'm out.
After 3 years, the second part was released, and between them, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and the cartoon Animal Crackers. Soon, Stallone appeared in such films as Backtrace, the second and third parts of the fantastic action movie Escape Plan. In 2019, the fifth film about Rambo, with the telling title Rambo: Last Blood, was released.
I want you to feel my rage, my hate, when I reach into your chest and rip out your heart!
According to critics, the ending of the story didn't turn out to be very successful, but Sylvester is sure that Rambo can still be called the personification of young soldiers and wants one of the directors to shoot a prequel about his childhood and youth. In 2021, the actor played King Shark in the superhero action movie The Suicide Squad, based on the comics of the same name, and in August 2022, appeared as an aging superhero in Samaritan. Stallone has big plans ahead. He recently returned to television in the crime series Tulsa King, will appear in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and is preparing to release the fourth part of The Expendables. And he also intends to expand his franchise by shooting a TV series and a female version of the beloved blockbuster. It also became known that Sylvester is preparing a reality show with his family members. Although Stallone mostly appears on screen with a gun at the ready, in real life, after one of his friends was shot, he calls for a ban on guns in the United States. Since childhood, Sylvester has been fond of painting. 2 of his works were even sold for $90,000, but this is only a small part of his fortune, estimated at $400 million. In addition to movies, Sylvester wrote several books about training, tried to launch a sports nutrition company, unsuccessfully, and published the magazine Sly with help tips and interviews with celebrities. This idea was also not very successful, with only 4 issues published. Another business failure happened with the Planet Hollywood restaurants. Stallone co-owned the chain with Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the establishments went bankrupt. Realizing that he was best at producing media content, in 2018, Sylvester founded his own film studio. He also sometimes agrees to star in commercials. He promoted the British bakery chain Warburton's and even Japanese sausages. But perhaps the most famous advertising campaign with him is the one for the Versace home collection. He appeared together with Claudia Schiffer as Adam and Eve. By the way, Stallone was friends with Gianni Versace and was a regular guest of the Italian fashion house shows. But the actor refused one advertising offer It was in the late 80s when an American beer brand offered him $5 million on the condition that he cut his hair. Sylvester Stallone spends his millions on an impressive collection of cars. In his garage, there are Bugatti Veyron, Aston Martin DBS, Bentley Continental GTC, Ferrari 612 Scaglietti, Ferrari 599 GTB Florano, Mercedes SL65, Mercedes E-Class, Porsche Panamera, Chevrolet Camaro, Ford Mustang, one of the most popular classic cars, Corvette 68, and even a rare Ford from 1932. We must not forget the luxury Cadillac Escalade. Stallone invested more than $400,000 in the design of this car. In addition, Sylvester loves motorcycles and expensive watches. He has a gold Rolex Submariner with a black dial, the cost of which is $20,000, as well as a GMT Master 2 Rolex made with 18-karat white gold for $7,500. However, one should not think that Stallone spends his millions only on himself. For decades, he auctioned off the original props from Rocky and eventually raised about $10,000 for the Canadian Diabetes Association. Stallone donated several million more to the project to combat childhood epilepsy. In the last decades, Sylvester has lived in a mansion in Beverly Hills. Its interiors varied from pompous neoclassicism with columns, curtains, gilding, and statues to modern bright decor. At the end of 2021, Adele bought this house for $58 million. Today, Sylvester owns a mansion in Palm Beach, Florida, with a pool and an outdoor jacuzzi worth $35.4 million, and an estate in Hidden Hills, California, bought in February this year for $18.2 million. The house has 5 bedrooms with bathrooms, a kitchen with granite countertops, a dining room, and also a stable on the territory. Previously, Stallone owned a villa in Miami with 3 guest houses, which he sold for $24 million. A house in Coconut Grove, Florida. The actor received $16 million for it in 1999, as well as a house in La Quinta, California. Sylvester and his wife bought a Mediterranean-style mansion in 2010 for $4.5 million and sold it in 2020 for $3.1 million. Sylvester Stallone is a whole era in cinema. Despite critical reviews of his acting and a string of nominations for the Golden Raspberry, he became a fan favorite. And what is your favorite Stallone role?
You're not as fast as you think.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, how Terminator lives and how he spends his millions. Arnold Alois Schwarzenegger was born on July 30th, 1947, in the community of Thal, Austria, into a Catholic family of Gustav and Aurelia. It is known that in 1938, his father joined the Nazi army of Germany, which Arnold would be very ashamed of in the future. Although his father didn't have any proven war crimes, during the Second World War, Gustav participated in the siege of Leningrad, where he was seriously wounded. Arnold's parents got married in 1945. At that time, Gustav was 38 years old, and Aurelia was 23 years old. For the girl, this marriage was her second. Her first husband died in the war. In 1946, Gustav and Aurelia had their first child, Meinhard, and a year later, Arnold, who became an outcast in the family, all because Gustav suspected his wife of infidelity and believed that Arnold was not his biological son. Schwarzenegger's childhood cannot be called happy because his duties included getting up at 6 in the morning and doing all the hard work before school. For any mistake, his father, who worked as the local chief of police, severely punished him and even gave him the nickname Cinderella. In addition, the family lived very poorly, but this only motivated Arnold to become successful in the future. Gustav was an athlete and demanded the same from his sons, so Arnold played soccer from a young age and a little later started weightlifting. When the boy turned 14, he went with a friend to Vienna to watch the World Weightlifting Championships. Arnold was among the spectators watching Soviet weightlifter Yuri Vlasov win the world title, becoming the first person to lift 445 pounds over his head. Schwarzenegger was so impressed by what he saw that he decided that day he would devote his life to bodybuilding. Since then, Arnold began to train daily, and on weekends, when the gym was closed, he would break in through the window and work out even harder. His parents were concerned with their son's new hobby, His mother, seeing posters of half-naked muscular men in his room, even suspected Arnold of being gay, and his father was dissatisfied with the nationality of his main idol, Vlasov, and demanded to find a German or Austrian icon. At 17, Arnold participated in his first bodybuilding competition in Graz, where he took second place. At 18, he was drafted into the army for a year. It was impossible to call Schwarzenegger a good soldier. During his service, he managed to drown a tank in a river, destroy a hangar, and even go AWOL just to participate in the Mr. Europe contest. Because of this violation, he was sent to the guardhouse, but after learning that he took first place in that competition, the officers released him and even gave him a 2-day vacation. After his service ended in 1966, Schwarzenegger went to Munich, where he got a job at a fitness club. It is worth noting that back then, Arnold severed ties with his father and brother, who had humiliated him, and in the future, he didn't even attend their funerals. In Munich, the young man didn't have enough money at first, and he had to sleep on the floor in the gym. In addition, matters would get worse because of constant fines for street fights, which he initiated almost every day. In the same year, Arnold went to London for the Mr. Universe contest, where he unexpectedly took second place. The following year, he managed to win the long-awaited title at 20, becoming the youngest winner in the entire history of the competition. At the same time, Schwarzenegger participated in international powerlifting tournaments, where he repeatedly became a champion. The young man always wanted to live in the USA, and in 1968, he realized his dream by moving to California, where he continued his training. At first, Schwarzenegger stayed in the country illegally, and he was able to obtain citizenship only in 1983. In addition, the young man spoke English rather poorly, but it didn't prevent him from reaching for success. Back then, Schwarzenegger already earned his first million a few years before the start of his acting career. Arriving in California, he opened a bricklaying business with a friend. Because of the earthquake in San Fernando, the demand for building materials increased, and with it, the company's profit. The guys invested the money they earned in a new business, mailing out equipment and VHS tapes with instructions for bodybuilding and fitness. In 1969, Arnold met a teacher, Barbara Baker, who became his first love. The young man, of course, was infamous for numerous affairs, but before meeting Barbara, he didn't really love anyone. In the same year, Schwarzenegger participated for the first time in the Mr. Olympia contest, where he took second place. In the next year, he managed to win the competition and at 23, became the youngest champion in the entire history of the competition. This record hasn't been broken so far. At the same time, his acting career began. Arnold's film debut was the lead role in Hercules in New York in 1970, but in the credits, he appeared under the last name Strong, since his real one seemed too difficult.
What's your second name? Hercules what?
As I've told you, I'm Hercules, the son of Zeus.
I don't think it needs any disrespect, Captain. It probably loose in the translation.
All right. Sign him on as Hercules Zeus since he says that's his father's name, and give him an OS rating, bosun.
Aye, sir.
His character's lines were also dubbed over because of his strong Austrian accent. A joke started circulating in Hollywood that only Schwarzenegger's accent is thicker than his muscles. Arnold considers his debut role the most unsuccessful. At the same time, it brought him $12,000. Then there were the roles in the films Happy Anniversary and Goodbye, The Streets of San Francisco, The San Pedro Beach Bums, and Stay Hungry. For the latter, Schwarzenegger was awarded the Golden Globe Award for New Star of the Year. Meanwhile, Arnold had no equal in bodybuilding. For 6 years, he was the permanent holder of the title Mr. Olympia and rightfully became a bodybuilding legend. Having reached all possible heights, Schwarzenegger announced his retirement from sports in 1975. A year before this event, he broke up with his beloved. The reason was Arnold's unwillingness to marry and have children, which the girl wanted so much. After parting with Barbara, he met hairdresser Sue Murray, who shared his views on an open relationship. In 1977, Schwarzenegger, while in a relationship, started dating the journalist Maria Shriver, the niece of the 35th U.S. President John F. Kennedy. This went on for a year, after which Sue insisted that Arnold decide between the girls. He chose Maria, whose relatives, by the way, were not happy about the potential son-in-law. During that period, Schwarzenegger starred in several films: The Villain, Scavenger Hunt, The Jane Mansfield Story, and Conan the Barbarian. The latter can be considered his first successful in his career.
Free throw?
Yes, it's all I have.
Good. That's all you'll ever need.
Even though he was nominated for the Golden Raspberry Anti-Award for the worst male role, the actor's payout then amounted to $250,000. Arnold performed all the stunts himself, so he returned to strength training. Having got in good shape, he decided to participate in the Mr. Olympia contest again, which he won. In 1984, the actor appeared in the sequel, Conan the Destroyer, which brought him $1 million. Later, the film Conan the Conqueror was supposed to come out, but Arnold was busy with another project, so the trilogy remained unfinished. In the same year, the action movie The Terminator was released, which became the most recognizable film with Schwarzenegger. His character's phrase, "I'll be back," became the hallmark of the actor.
I'll be back.
And also appeared in 37th place in the list of the 100 best quotes from films. Interestingly, the scene with this phrase took 9 takes to film. For The Terminator, Arnold earned $750,000 and was also nominated for the Saturn Award for Best Actor.
I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
You're close. Give them to me, now.
Fuck you, asshole!
In 1985, the rising star was invited to star in the action movie Commando, which was well received by the public and brought Schwarzenegger $1.5 million.
You scared, motherfucker? Well, you should be, because the Green Beret's gonna kick your big ass.
I ate green berets for breakfast. And right now, I'm very hungry.
I can't believe this macho bullshit.
The actor performed all the stunts himself, simply because it was hard to find a stuntman with the same physique. Although the lovemaking scene he did was so unconvincing that they had to cut it. In the same year, the film Red Sonja was released, in which Danish actress Brigitte Nielsen became Arnold's partner on the set. A stormy relationship flared between them, although at that time, Arnold was already engaged to Maria. After the filming was completed, the actor broke up with Nielsen, who didn't want to stay a mistress and threatened to tell his fiancée everything. Then Schwarzenegger introduced Brigitte to his friend Sylvester Stallone, whom she soon married. In 1986, Arnold got married too, with Maria Shriver. He had 4 children: Catherine, Christina, Patrick, and Christopher. A few months after the wedding, the film Raw Deal was released, in which he got the lead role. Schwarzenegger's acting career was gaining momentum, and with it, the payouts were growing. In 1987, he starred in 2 films, Predator and The Running Man, for which he earned $3 million and $5 million respectively. Both films were well received by the public, and for Predator, Arnold was even nominated for Best Actor at the Saturn Film Award. At the same time, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 1988, Schwarzenegger appeared in the film Red Heat. His payout was $8 million. In the same year, with his appearance in the movie Twins with Danny DeVito, the actor proved that he can play comedy roles perfectly.
My name is Julius, and I'm your twin brother.
Oh, obviously. The moment I sat down, I thought I was looking into a mirror.
The movie creator couldn't afford to pay the 2 actors, so they agreed to a percentage of sales, and it was worth it. The comedy had such a resounding success at the box office that Arnold received his biggest income of $35 million. The actor has repeatedly stated that he considers this film the best in his career. In the early 1990s, Schwarzenegger starred in the films Kindergarten Cop, for which he received $12 million, Total Recall for $10 million, and Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, or later, dickwad. And if someone gets upset, you say, chill out. Or you could do combinations.
Chill out, dickwad.
That's great.
For the last 2 films, Arnold was nominated for the Best Actor category at the Saturn Film Awards. By the way, the actor preferred to receive the $15 million for the second part of the Terminator in kind and asked for a Gulfstream III plane. Then, Schwarzenegger added the following films to his filmography: Dave, Beretta's Island, Last Action Hero, Junior, and True Lies. For the latter three, Arnold received payouts for $15 million each. Those works were awarded various nominations, and most of them Arnold received for the action movie True Lies in the categories Best Actor, Best Kiss, and Best Dance Sequence.
Do you still love your husband?
Yes, I love him. I've always loved him.
In 1996, Arnold appeared in the comedy Jingle All the Way and in the action movie Eraser, where his partner on set was Vanessa Williams, with whom, according to rumors, he had a fleeting affair. For each of the films, the actor earned $20 million. In the next few years, Schwarzenegger starred in the films Batman and Robin, End of Days, and The Sixth Day. Even though the actor earned $72 million in total for these films, his acting was heavily criticized, and for each of these roles, he was nominated for the Golden Raspberry Anti-Award as the worst actor. In the early 2000s, Arnold appeared in the films Collateral Damage, for which he earned $25 million, and Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, for a payout of about $30 million.
DX is designed to terminate other cybernetic organisms.
So, she's an anti-Terminator. Terminator? You've got to be shitting me.
No, I am not shitting you.
After the release of the long-awaited sequel, Schwarzenegger announced his retirement from the film industry and the beginning of his political career. Despite the skepticism, in 2003, he was elected the 38th governor of California with 1.3 million votes. Even though Arnold's wife is a representative of the Democratic Kennedy clan, Schwarzenegger himself is a dedicated Republican. Arnold's political activity caused a contradictory reaction from the public, and the powerful opposition seriously lowered his rating. But in 2006, Schwarzenegger was re-elected for a second term, during which he stood out for his policy of reducing costs, refusing the governor's salary, but all the efforts to save money by laying off civil servants and raising taxes ended with mass protests by trade unions. As a result, the state led by Arnold suffered more than the others from the consequences of the global crisis. During this period, Arnold did not have time to act in movies. In 2004, the pre-film film Around the World in 80 Days was released, for the role in which he was nominated for another Golden Raspberry. By the way, in 2005, Arnold still received a special anti-award, becoming the worst Razzie loser of the first 25 years. Schwarzenegger stepped away from political affairs only for The Expendables in 2010, where he played a cameo role. Even in the fourth part of The Terminator, they had to use a digital image of the actor. In 2011, Arnold's second and last term as governor came to an end, so he returned to the cinema. According to some reports, during his political career, the actor missed the opportunity to earn $200 million in the film industry. Changes have also occurred in his personal life. After 25 years of marriage, Arnold announced that he and his wife were divorcing. Maria loved her husband very much and turned a blind eye to numerous infidelities, but she couldn't forgive one of them. The reason was their governess Mildred, whose son Joseph was surprisingly similar to Schwarzenegger. When Maria figured out that Joseph was Arnold's son, the marriage ended. In 2012, the actor appeared in The Expendables 2, for which he earned $10 million, even though all his scenes were shot in just 5 days.
I need a weapon, something big. Yours!
Whoa, 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 whoa. My big weapon's hanging right where it is.
Come on, Caesar, you gotta back up.
If I don't get this back, your ass is terminated. In your dream.
In his spare time, Arnold gives motivational lectures around the world. He has written many books on bodybuilding, and in 2012, his autobiography, Total Recall, came out. The following year, Arnold starred in the films The Last Stand with a payout of $5 million and Escape Plan. Then he added several others to his filmography, like Sabotage, Maggie, 2.5 Men, and The Expendables 3, and for the latter, he received another nomination for Golden Raspberry. In 2015, the film Terminator Genesis was released.
Won't be needing any clothes. I've been waiting for you.
It was decided not to hide Arnold Schwarzenegger's age with CGI. Instead, the writers decided to explain that the living tissue that covers the Terminator can age, and the robot's hair can turn gray. During the same period, it became known about Arnold's affair with physiotherapist Heather Milligan, who is 27 years younger than him. In 2017, Arnold appeared in the films Kill Gunther and Aftermath, which turned out to be commercially unsuccessful. In 2019, he starred in the films Terminator, Dark Fate, and V2, Journey to China, for which he again received a nomination for Golden Raspberry.
Go back and exercise, gentlemen. Affect your bodies. Remember, a healthy body houses a healthy mind. Mens sana in corpore sano. Exercise!
Even though Schwarzenegger's acting is constantly being criticized, offers from directors continue to come, and soon, we will see new films with Iron Arnold. In 2021, Schwarzenegger's divorce process, which lasted 10 years, was completed. It took that long because the spouses hadn't signed a prenup at the time, so they had to share their jointly acquired property, and there was a lot of it. Today, Arnold's fortune is estimated at $450 million, which he earned through films, lectures, and advertising contracts. Arnold appeared in advertisements for a Japanese energy drink, BMW iX electric car, World of Tanks, and mobile strike games, Bud Light beer, and others. Schwarzenegger invested money in securities of large companies, including Coca-Cola, Starbucks, and Google. Most of all, the actor liked to invest money in real estate. Nowadays, the value of Arnold's commercial real estate alone exceeds $100 million. But still, the center of his financial empire is the company Oak Productions, through which he receives payouts from film studios and percentages from comic and video game sales. At one time, the Schwarzeneggers owned a restaurant in Santa Monica, but in 1998, the establishment was sold. Also, together with LeBron James, Arnold founded a dietary supplement production company. Before the divorce, the couple lived in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles, where their children grew up. The mansion has an area of about 11,000 square feet. It includes 9 bedrooms, several living rooms, a spacious kitchen, and a dining room. There is also a garden, a patio, a swimming pool with a unique geometric shape, and a tennis court. In 2013, this family nest was sold for $13 million. Now the Hollywood star lives in a 1-story house with a large plot of land on the outskirts of Los Angeles with his favorite pets, Husky Dutch, Yorkshire Terrier Cherry, Donkey Lulu, and Pony Whiskey. Arnold owns a huge collection of cars, which includes Dodge Challenger SRT8, Excalibur Series 3 Phaeton, Hummer H1, Dodge M37, exclusive Jeep Grand Wagoneer Governator, Porsche 911, Mercedes SLS, Gallon Wagon Chrysler with an electric motor, Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse, a Mercedes model specially created for Iron Arnold, and even a real M47 tank, the model he drove in the army. The actor bought it from the Austrian government for $1.4 million. The celebrity spends a significant part of his income on charity. Back in 1995, Schwarzenegger founded an organization that provides an opportunity for children from low-income families to get an education. The foundation also helps fight against HIV, AIDS, and other diseases. For example, in 2020, Arnold allocated $1 million to support medical workers, and in 2021, spent $250,000 to build 25 houses for veterans. In addition, he collaborated with the organization Veloce, which is engaged in the popularization of electric vehicles. Now Iron Arnold is rightfully considered a fan's favorite. A monument was erected in his honor. A programming language and even a Costa Rican ground beetle were named after him. And the Guinness Book of Records called him the most perfectly developed man in the history of the world. Do you like Arnold Schwarzenegger? If you like the video, leave a like and also subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything interesting.